Welcome to this roundtable, ladies. This is probably the most important roundtable. I got about maybe like 7, sheet of note that I wrote down. This is going to be a very intense workshop. The one thing that I want you to take home, I'm going to make a module out of this roundtable. I'm going to actually take all this shit. I'm going to put like a video together. I'm going to insert that into the rewire module. This is probably the most important thing. All of you needs to have a breakthrough if you want to succeed into fitness in general, not necessarily into this program. If it's not for you, I understand. But if you want to succeed, you need to have a breakthrough, okay? You need to understand that it's not simply about doing a strategy, it's about being positive, about doing the daily work. And why did I decide to make this presentation today? It is because I keep seeing people talking about motivation, about getting results. If I don't get results, kind of being a downer, that kind of feeling bad about whether or not you take it out on, on yourself, on other people, whatever the case might be. And again, I'm not saying that you don't have to be emotional. I'm saying you have to take ownership on your emotion. Whatever you feel, that's good. You want to share it into this group. But I'm going to tell you 4 secrets about motivation right now. Motivation can only be present if there is the 4 C's that I'm going to tell you about right now. So clarity, certainty, community, and culture, okay? This is a community. If there is a culture of people say, yes, I'm gonna get better every single day, this culture is gonna grow. It's gonna be positive. The motivation, you're gonna carry each other up, okay? Us as leader, me, Georgia here, we're here to carry you, but we're not here to pull you. We're here to give you direction so you can be motivated yourself, okay? Now, the clarity, you can only be motivated, you can always go straight into your path if you're clear, right? Clarity gives you certainty give you action, and action give you results if you do it every single day, okay? So what is the 4 key of breakthrough? Today we're going to cover the 4 key of breakthrough. We're going to talk about what are habits and specifically what they're built upon. We're going to talk about the daily work in terms of consistency and what is stopping you from doing the daily work, which is basically perspective. Every single time you have a perspective that is not what it has to be, and you simply stop, or you simply feel in a certain way, okay? So we're gonna analyze right now what are the keys to actually, being successful, right? So you are successful in life, right? And the most people that are successful is usually the people that are persistent, right? That keep doing, whether or not is the right or wrong thing to do. You got these people that are successful in business, in life, in everything. And you get this idea, you see them all the time, and it's like, oh my God, how they're so successful. They are persistent. They're not just gonna stop the first time around, right? And this comes out to be hungry. You need to be hungry, right? It's like, I need to be hungry because I want to make sure, that I'm feeding, myself, and say, I want to really get successful. Successful doesn't show up all the time, and doesn't show up for everybody, and doesn't take very little time. You actually take a very long time to be successful, right? So you want to be hungry and get hungry. If you're not hungry right now for success, you want to get hungry for success. So usually what happens when you start doing something, right? You create your limiting belief. You create what I call to be stories, right? Now, stories can be stories like, like I've been abused, right? I've been abused. I have this metabolism problem. I have no money. I'm not being lucky in life. I'm poor. I'm broke. Whatever the case might be, the story that you built in your mind is going to create a limiting belief. And usually it comes out to blaming people. You see a 10% of people in this group, and again, I'm not pointing finger at everybody. I'm saying is to help you grow. It's like you point like very, very little. And again, I'm really happy about. And it's more kind of like, feeling technically negative about something, but then like you kind of like blaming either yourself, you blaming something working or not working, or you keep blaming something or someone, right? Blaming is going to be something that is going to imprison you. Your story is going to imprison you, whether or not you're going to be successful. I'm going to explain you later why, right? Then, of course, like if you look at, I'm gonna shift. You need to shift your story, right? When you're talking about people not having money, right? When you say, I hear it all the time, right? We onboard people every single day in here, and we turn out of 85% of them from this program, right? Because they say, I have no money, right? So money is everywhere. Is it lack of resources you need, or is it lack of resourcefulness? Are you like when you say I'm not, I don't have resources. Or you're not resourceful. Because what would happen if you get fired tomorrow and you need to carry your family around? You probably would find a way to find the money, right? You would find something that it takes to go a little bit deeper to actually get that, right? Because obviously the inability for you to actually shift your story is going to be that thing, that, it's not going to allow you to be successful in life. When you say lack of resourcefulness, what does that remember? If you look at the code, one code is about be resourceful, right? And that's what I said all the time. There is people here asking questions out of doing the work, and there's people here asking questions out of just commodity. Just, I'm going to ask a question because it's just simple, right? And us as coaches, we're here to answer all these questions, but it just make more sense if you ask a question from the perspective of you actually doing the work, right? And of course, the other limiting belief of you being or not being successful, not having a breakthrough, is the inability to get excited. I mean, all of you are getting results, like either small percentage results, like all of you are getting results, and most of the people here are not excited about their life. Like I would say at least a good 30%, you wish that the life is better, right? And yet you see bad things in the world around you all the time. You see people getting sick. People are sick. You see in terrorism. You see people in some countries in the world, Africa, that dies every, in this 10 seconds I just spoke, somebody else dies, right? It's like, and you lack the ability to get excited about your wins, right? All these points that I just described is kind of like what makes up, you being or not being successful on the long term. I'm not talking now about losing top 2 kilos because you're doing a diet. That one everybody can do. Like long term, to be able to maintain, to be able to grow, to be able to actually do these things. Now, the four, points of actually having a breakthrough, it really comes down to having 4 things. Number one is the strategy, the right strategy. If you have the wrong strategy, it's never going to work. There is a few percentage of people in here, we have to tweak the strategy every single time because it seems like it's not working, right? If there is a strategy problem, it's not going to work. But for the most part, the strategy problem is not you need the right strategy, but is the implementation of the strategy doesn't take place, right? Because we have people, like we have America, it's like, 1 out of 3 people is obese in US. It's not because they don't know what to eat, or not because they don't know they have to exercise. It's just because they don't do it. So it's execution. So the second part is really executing without excuse in the right time, right? This is the key, in the right time. I'm going to use another time Elena for an example. Holidays, in the summer for Elena, right strategy. She didn't execute, no results. September for Elena, right strategy. She executed, she's putting people into this program, she's suggesting people, she actually growing, she's making video about growing, about the mindset. You see, like, right strategy in the right time, without excuse. You need to be in the right time in order to actually execute. The other thing that you need to have you need to actually have a story. You need to shift your reality. You need to have a story, right? But a story that is not going to imprison you. The story you're telling yourself is the story that is actually going to move you forward, right? I have a metabolism problem. I have a gluten problem. I have this problem. I have no time, right? This is a story that is going to imprison you. Like, I agree with you. You probably have a metabolism problem. You probably celiac for real. Like, you probably have no time because you're working several hours. But this is not why you don't get results. Because everybody will find time. Your metabolism is slow because you're doing nothing to improve your metabolism. And we can back this up. We have, in the past, we have Joyce. She had menopause. We saw results from her. We have people with thyroid problem. Higher the carbohydrates for about a month. They took away the problem. It's like there is no, in long term, there is only excuse. There is no problems. There is just the way you see problems. Okay. The other one, the fourth one is actually the state of mind, right? How do you feel? This is the last thing that is going to imprison you. It's like, how do you feel? Usually the state of mind is the most important. Okay. Because you make decision upon, you change your state of mind upon decisions, not upon conditions, okay? Conditions conditions you not to make decision. If I'm poor, if I was abused, right? If I was whatever, like you make yourself. This is a condition. The decision you make upon that is kind of like what changes the state. I'm gonna make an example here. I don't know how many of you know her. Like you probably a lot of you know her. You know who Oprah Winfrey is, right? Like very successful women in US, right? And like she's an African American, right? She was poor, she was abused, right? And yet today is one of the most successful in talk shows, and like she made more money, and like somebody would argue that she made such a difference for a lot of women, in US, right? And again, that's condition. How many people that were abused, probably a lot. There are people that let themselves go. There are people that fight back, African American in a time in US, which African American, it wasn't cool to be, not right now, like we have Obama being president, at that time she grew up, it was actually pretty difficult to be African American. A lot of, injustice, against, and then still she fought back. You can still, choose to change your mind. Another thing, how, the condition influences you. I'm going to give you another example. When you see the news, right? The weather, you talk about the weather all the time, right? And you say, the weather is good, nobody really cares, right? But if you're going to live in a place like I live for most of my part of my years in Miami, and you get hurricanes in the season, and you say, oh, the weather, bad weather, the hurricane is coming. You're gonna bet your butt that you're gonna be pretty influenced about it, and like you're gonna start changing your state, and you're gonna go and looking for water, and you're gonna go and looking like you're gonna change your state based on conditions that everybody's telling you, media, internet, people around you. You're gonna change your state. So in order to change your story, you need to change your state. In order to actually get successful with your story, you need to tell you a different story. You need to execute, and you need to have the right strategy. Okay, I made this like a small little example here. Okay, so if you look, you have people that look things, and there is like happy people, right? There is miserable people. There is let me actually explain to you. Happy people, miserable people, and driven people. The driven people usually look at the past all the time. Now there is happy people, right? They usually look at the present. There is the driven people that look at the present, but with an eye upon the immediate future. Okay? But now what happens if you look at your future from a rear side mirror? Meaning, like, what happens if you look at the future, you got results, you look at the future with your habits that you had in the past from the rear side mirror, right? If you could look at your mirror on the car and look like that, and you don't pay attention to where you're going, right? Usually you might even be able to crash, like right away, okay? So if you're gonna look at the future, you cannot look at the future with the eyes that you had in the past, if that makes any sense, right? Meaning, like, there is, like I said on the other round table, there is so many people that do not look at the future, or they always look at either the past or the future. They never look at the present, right? And that basically means, if we translate it, that you need to be focused on what you can control. This is going to actually empower your state. If you can focus on what you can control, you're going to have a better state. You're going to have a better story, right? You're going to have a better strategy, probably a better execution. Overall, is going to actually empower you, not imprison you, okay? Then, of course, when you see pains, when you see problems, when you see challenges, like, do you see them as challenges? Do you see them as punishment? Do you see them as gifts? I mean, few people in life can see actually pain or failure as a gift. Let me actually, who's talking? Let me actually mute. Yeah, nobody. Good. Okay, so again, very few people can actually see problem as challenges or gifts. They always see it as unfortunately, as pain, as punishment. Like, oh, these people are punishing me. Oh, God is punishing me. Or no, I got sick. What does that mean, right? You need to actually be able to change your perspective, right? I'm going to actually show you something, right? When you see this thing here, what do you see? It's usually kind of like a I don't know, like a square, correct? That would be a square. Now, if we do that, if you change your perspective, right? you kind of see, now, how do you see this square now? You kind of see like a 3D square, right? And if we do that, you probably see something like a cube, right? I mean, like, you're able to change your perspective all the time. It's not only optical, like whatever you see, right? We could do tons of these exercises. You will be able to change your perspective. And like the way that you know, that you choose to see something, right? It's usually, that's why, you know, something fails or is successful, you know, because, you know, the emotion you choose to link of something working or not working. And now, of course, we're talking about, okay, this nutrition works, this nutrition doesn't work, this training works, this training doesn't work. It's really about you getting emotional around something, okay? So here I put, there is really like, there is like people, right? Taking action, right? And then you experience, like, you actually taking action, and you create yourself a story, okay, here. And then, of course, instead of going to perspective, right, making decision and actually getting feedback and, you know, making tweak or change it or actually getting results, most people stop here. You start doubting yourself. I'm going to make an example. Every single week I see people here talking about, okay, I follow my color. Yes, I follow my color. That's good. No, I didn't follow my color. What's going to happen now? I'm losing results. Like, you, instead of like listening to your ego, you should actually let your ego go, and you should ask yourself another question. What could that mean? How can I make this better? You want to see perspective, because if you keep doubting yourself in every single strategy you do, you're going to reinforce the doubt. You're not going to reinforce the success. You're not going to be able to compare what you got into before getting into this program, or before doing something successful in your life, and you're going to reinforce your doubt. Too many people jump to conclusion. You know, I don't see results after dieting for a month. Oh, that doesn't work. You know, I don't see results after doing this exercise. It doesn't work, right? Like, oh no, weight training for me doesn't work. After 2 months, you know, it doesn't work, right? Instead of saying, okay, I have to change perspective. How can I do better? You know, how can I improve my session? When I choose to improve my session, how can I make more session improved? How can I make the reps improving? How can I make the rest improving? You know, how can I? And then when you finish improving, you take measurements. You look at yourself in the mirror. What happened? What did it change? Am I being honest with myself? Did I eat every single thing I'm supposed to be eating? Did I make space for myself? Yes or no? Like, perspective, like, you need to change it. Like, you need to go on, right? This is very important. There is 3 more circle here, and this thing now is like, my pen is not working. Let me get another color here. There is 3 more things that needs to take place here. Perspective, like, you need to change your ego. You need to leave your ego out the door. And it's like, no, you know, I'm not going to doubt myself. I'm going to keep going. And I can only keep going if I care about my future, not if I care about now to have results now. You're going to have feedbacks, and you're going to make a choice. Here you can make a choice after you get perspective, not before. If you get perspective before. What I want, you know, everybody to start doing, and you know, I see the most successful people in here, you know, I'm not going to keep naming them, but like people that do, and, you know, they post these things every single week, you know, there is a correlated rate of success to them. You know, and I'm not saying that, you know, if you don't do it, you're not. Some of you are just faster than other people, that they get success despite doing that. But there is the daily work to be done, okay? And the daily work for you to be successful, it's here, okay? How do you train yourself? You have to rate this. How do you fuel yourself? You have to rate this, right? How is your motivation? You have to rate this, right? On the other side, how do you plan? How did you create space, right? Did you actually make a plan, right? There is perspective in that you have to actually see now. Have I done this correctly, right? And the last one is the most important here. Like, you need to be able to spend time with other people that you care of, but spend time with purpose, right? Like, how are your relationship? How is your harmony? If you're not happy, like, you're gonna carry your state around your day, you're not gonna be able to execute. This is the daily work. Like, this is supposed to be done every single day. If you're doing this for 30 days, this is gonna create the results, not the calories, not how many calories did I need to do this week? Like this is what you need to do. Rate every single time. 6 out of 10, 7, 8. Okay, I got 7, 8, 6 here. What can I do next week? How can I make this a 10, 10, 10? How can I make this every day, right? If you can do that, and you need to get slowly. You don't need to get there in a month. You don't need to get there in 2 months. You need to get slowly there. It's very, very important, okay? It's something important. Perspective. That's no rating for perspective. You need to shift, and then that, like, if you're not getting results right now, you need to change something, period. Like perspective, that's it. Now, if we go on, and this is, again, I'm really happy to see, you know, today we got about 18 people. I'm really happy to see this show up right here. Like if, you know, I said it before, like if you don't come here, that's on you. If you come here and you don't do the work that I'm telling you to do, you know, it's probably going to produce the same, you know, rate of results. Okay, and I'm saying here because I just did this here for you, same thing. And again, you're going to see a presentation about this whole thing. I'm going to actually make a module. I'm going to post it on the group. I'm going to make it inside of it. Like I want to see these things. Like 1 time a week is 7 days in a week. I want to see 1 or 2 times a week that you post this thing, like filled up like I did before, like that thing this thing. You can actually stop your screen when you see the replay of this. I want to see this thing. You're going to stop your screen and you're going to see the presentation. Don't worry. You're going to see the presentation. Don't worry. I want to see this thing posted in there because like the weekly check-in we do, that's like something similar, but like once a week. Like I want to see you really planning. I want to see your plan. The way you plan is this, right? I said a last round table. We had like a shitty show rate of 6 people last week, but like that this is what I want to see. This is what we talk. I want to see 30 minutes blocks. I said, start with 30 minutes, 1 or 2 a day, 1 hour and a half that you're going to dedicate to health. You know, like I want to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, like work out here, right? Work out here. Here I'm going to look at some videos. How can I improve my awareness around calories, right? I want to see, I would like to see 60, we have about 70 people in. I want to see, I don't know, 45 people posting this thing, the plan of your week. Like I would like to see that. Because if I see that, I know that you actually plan. Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense for me to tell you, create space and you don't do it. And again, for some of you, I know that it's like counterintuitive. So some of you is like, fuck Jerry, no, I'm not going to do it because I don't have time. Like if you don't have time, like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like you need to create time. Because I know you have time. Like all of you have time. Like wake up 10 minutes early. Like do this thing. Like plan, like really live in 30 minutes block. I'm doing it for myself. You cannot imagine the difference that I did from before. I used to have a shitty work ethic in, like I wouldn't get nothing done because I would not be able to do that. Like I did like now 30 minutes block. Maybe I have like 4 minutes for 30 minutes block. You know, 1 for marketing, the other 1 for coaching, the other 1 for actually VIP people, the other 1 for working out. You know, like you do need to actually have that. Like if you're not able to have that, and you don't learn these things in about a month, I'm telling you, like you don't learn this thing. Chances are, if you don't see consistent results, we have people, you know, going up and down a little bit, and the chances are it's because you're not doing that. We have a lot of new people here today. I'm happy to see that. You know, for most of the time, I had to almost back the new people to come on board. And it's like, if you couldn't manage to come 30 minutes of this presentation, you did not understand what this thing is all about. Like you did not understand that this is an information product. If you don't hear these things and if you don't take action on this thing, this is another information product. You know, it's a better information product because we don't just give you keto diet shit to do, like something that is not like restricting, but like it's still an information product. If you don't shift your mindset, like if you don't shift the fact that you're gonna have to work hard, if you don't see results, you don't shift the fact that you cannot be negative about it. That if you don't get a results in Christmas, you have to be okay. We're getting into the summer. Like you do need to live like that. Your body is gonna teach you something all the time. You need to be okay with failure. You need to be okay with the fact that you did not get extra fat on you in about a month. You probably took a few years. If you can fix everything in 6 months, in a year, you should be super happy. But then when you fix it, you need to ask yourself, how am I going to be able to keep it? Because being happy for a year and then be unhappy for another 6 years, you're not going to be happy. So it's very good. So it's very good that you all are here today. new people, old people, people that never show up. Do this thing that I'm telling you. It's very, very important. Okay, it's really, really mandatory. It's like something like, and when I say mandatory, girls, it's not like, you know, you're gonna get thrown off the program or anything. It's like, if you are here, like, I really like, it's towards the people that are always here and they say, you know, the motivation is very important. You need to be a leader for these other people, meaning like the people are leading you, right? But you need to become leaders for other people as well. And again, what better way to actually show yourself and show your families and show everybody I can actually change, right? And now we're gonna go, you know, the last thing I really wanna talk about that is important is the habits, because why you don't get all this thing down that I'm said right now, why you don't plan, why you don't create space, because it's not a pattern, it's not something unconscious right now. It's still something that you have to program in your mind. For some of you, I know what you're thinking right now is probably difficult. It's not what is for me, because fitness for me, if I don't work out, I feel bad, right? In some of you, we kind of have to drag you to the gym, we have to drag you to the workout at home. You prefer spending time, you know, with families and everything. So what builds a routine? And again, this is just numbers. In my experience, in my idea, I think it's bigger than that, but this is just numbers, okay? It takes about 30 days to actually build one habit, to actually build it up. Not to master the habit, not to make sure that it's ingrained, not to make sure to program. We have 10 days that is very, very difficult. For some of you, waking up, I don't know, 10 minutes early is a problem. For some of you, finding an extra 30 minutes like problem, that, you know, that's very difficult. The second 10 days, right? It takes discipline. If you get through the first 10 days, the habits is possible. It takes discipline the next 10 days. And the third 10 days is what, you know, we had Elena, you know, coming several times, both Elenas, I see two Elenas here, and like they talked about, you know, planning, right? So that last 10 days is actually when the magic happens. You know, actually when you say, cool, I'm actually making a progress, right? This thing is actually automatic. This is for me, stop drinking, for example. This is for me, stop partying. This is for me, eating better. This is for me getting rid of my binge eating. It took longer than that. It took a year, it took 2 years. But like it does, like if you can ingrain this into a habit, after a while it's part of your brain. In a way that when you know that if you're actually mastering the habit is when you go to do these things that let's say you used to have a drink every night with your partner, whatever the case might be. When you do that and you feel kind of like not so cool about it, you probably, you know, build a habit. Okay? So that's actually what this is about. So the 5 components to actually do the habits, and we still have about 10 minutes. So the presentation is going to go until the end. I'm going to log in one more time. We're going to run a hot seat, but also I'm going to have everybody answer a few questions or talk about whatever like they see into this presentation. So to build up a habits, you need to actually do a few things. First of all, you need to understand what the habit is all about. Okay? So you need to list your habit. The second one is actually taking a decision, you know, of why do you need this habit, okay? I'm gonna make an example. If you have the habits of waking up late, right, or skip breakfast, let's say you're skipping breakfast, right? Why do you skip breakfast? Is it because you heard somebody saying that it was good or bad? Why did you decide to take, I don't know, like take the elevator instead of actually taking the stairs, right? That's a habit. Like, I mean, what is it that is triggering that? Like, why is that positive, negative? Why have you chosen to actually have a drink with your partner once in a while in the week? Like, is that a habit? Is that what is that? Why have you chosen to only eat one meal a day, right? Like from somebody likes intermittent fasting. Why do like whatever habits you have in your life? Like there is gonna be something that you know that is clear to you that is positive, something that is negative. So I want you to have a sense of listing all the habits that you can have in your life and say which one are the positive, which one are the negative. Okay? Very, very vital. Because when you list the habits, then you need to actually replace the good one with the bad one. And this is kind of like the iffy part, because you need to be clear which one are the good one and which one are the bad one. Okay? And of course, the last one, the number 5, is actually the taking action part. Some of you it's difficult, that you have to take action in this habit, but how many times do we say take action in the habit, right? And this comes down to actually the habit component. The problem is that everybody that tells you what a habit is about, a habit is there is a cue, a trigger, a cue here, right? There is a routine, and this is what everybody's telling you. The habit is like a routine. It's something that you do all the time. And then there is the reward. Nobody's telling you about this, positive or negative reward, okay? They did a study, and this is what it was about. I'm gonna put it down well. They did a study that they put a bunch of kids, like 8-year-old kid. You know how when you give something sweet to kids, for them it's almost like drugs, right? They sit down, like they sit 2 kids down at a time, 2 kids down. There was an actual experiment on the 60s, on the 80s, something like very, very old experiment they did with kids. They put 1 marshmallow in front of them. They put 1 marshmallow in front of them, and they asked these kids, they said to them, if you can hold 10 minutes without eating the marshmallow, and you know what that means for a 4 years old or a 7-year-old kid, you know, you're gonna have after 10 minutes, you can have a second marshmallow. Guess how many kids were able to actually hold 10 minutes? There was 1 kid that was able to hold. And the first thing that, and what he said when they asked him, how were you able to do that? He said, what I was thinking constantly in my mind, the only thing I could actually get to do that is not really think about it. And the only thing I was thinking is like after 10 minutes, I was going to shove the bolt marshmallow inside my mouth. And that's what he did after. So it's kind of like, you really need to understand that habits is not something that you're going to fix right away. It's something that you need to master. It's something that needs to take time. And you know, I'm going to make an example of a habit here. So and I said this into my life, if you're somebody that have a hard time making exercise, even if you're somebody of those people that sometimes they cannot even get to the end of the calories, like it's difficult for them to eat more, you kind of want to reward your brain positively. Okay, so you know that after workout, by logic, you need carbohydrates. You need probably something like sugar. You want to give your body something positive, right? Not necessarily around food, but something positive that you can actually hardwire your brain to actually want to do this more. After workouts, go get a smoothie. If you can get some protein, even in the smoothie, even better. Go get a smoothie with a friend of yours. Talk for 30 minutes, something about positive, about your change, something, whatever, like you're doing, something positive. Hardwire, give yourself a reward. A bad habit that you have, like give yourself a negative reward. Take away something from your life that you like to have. Like you do need to give your body rewards. Otherwise, your brain is not going to, like your animalistic part of the brain is not going to be able to actually detect this thing as a change. Okay? Very few people can change their habit by not giving a reward. Okay? So whatever, and again, it doesn't need to be food. It doesn't need to be food. But it has to be something, right? That actually is able to detect a change into, like, your body, your brain needs to detect a change. The tricky part, and I'm talking about for the good portion of people on this program that really struggle with binge eating or with eating disorder, the tricky part for them, which usually the animal part of the brain, and I'm talking for experience, they really take over, the rationale part, and tells you that, you know that you should not be eating that, but you still eat it. The problem with that we have is, like, you don't want to reward yourself with food. Obviously, if you're able to take the habits away, you don't want to reward yourself with food, because then it's kind of like you kind of like reinforcing the fact that food is always present. So it's kind of like maybe reward yourself with meeting somebody that you like, or spending some positive time, or seeing a TV show, whatever the case might be. But in other words, this is kind of like, in a nutshell, which I hope for you, which I hope for the people, which I'm not going to name, but the people are never here. I hope that this is a breakthrough for you. Like I'm going to make a module out of this, for the one of you that like to see my videos, that love, they always say, oh, I like to see more video. That's cool. For those of you that, which I make the rewire module 5 minutes a video, which usually means that, 35 minutes you can see the whole rewire module. This is going to add a little bit of work. But again, it always comes down to that. If you're not really willing to see an hour of content, to actually change your life, you're probably not ready to change. And again, appreciate everybody showing up today. This is, it should be the breakthrough. If you're gonna see this roundtable and you're just gonna shut it off, nothing is gonna change. If you see the replay and you actually stop, if you actually see the presentation, what I do, if you see the module, if you actually start planning, if you start posting this thing in a group, you're going to have better control on your habits. You're going to see more results faster, and you're probably going to shift your state, which, again, it really takes perspective, and it really needs to shift in a way that you are more positive or more in control of the way of your stories, and for you to be able to actually keep doing the work, okay? Like meaning like not expecting, not seeing an end date of a program, but keep doing the work. It doesn't matter if you are in the program or not, but meaning like it's going to be a long-term process to see a change, okay? Girls, ladies, thank you so much for showing up in this thing. I'm going to log in once more. Like all you have to do is click one more time the same link. We're gonna open the microphones right now. I wanna hear what you think about the one thing all this presentation I just gave today. And also we have about at least 25 minutes for an hot seat for whoever needs help, you know, in terms of, I know I need to talk to me now and also other people that needs any help with this. Thank you so much for showing up. Log in again instantly.